Are you working past age 65 and wondering if Medicare is the better fit for you? In today's video, we're going to look at first, who should probably jump onto Medicare from an employer plan. Second, who should probably keep their group or employer plan. And if you stick around for our bonus towards the end, we're going to look at ways to save money in addition to this. First, let's talk about who should probably jump on the Medicare from an employer plan. Really, we want to compare the two options we have. You know what your employer plan is. You know how much that cost is for you out of your pocket monthly. And then we can compare that with Medicare. Well, how do we do this? What costs are involved with Medicare? What coverages and plans do we have? It's a little bit more involved, but here's a rough sketch. Medicare, usually with a supplement or an advantage plan, what kind of costs are we looking at total? It's broken up into 3 or 4 core pieces that you're going to have to pay for. First, you have your Part B with Medicare. That's running around $170, just under $200 a month, depending on your prior income. So that's one piece right there. Then let's look at a Medicare Supplement, which is more like a PPO. It's more expensive. That might run around $150 a month, okay? Finally, there's a Part D for medication. That might be anywhere from $10, $15, depending on the carrier. So right off the bat, we have about $350 a month we're going to pay for really robust coverage with Medicare, Part A and B, with a Medicare Supplement G plan, and with a Part D plan. That's comprehensive coverage to compare with whatever we're paying on the group side. So now if we look at the group side, how much are you paying monthly to have that plan for yourself? So add up that number, then look at your deductible and look at your max out of pocket. Those are two key pieces that address if you get big bills in a calendar year, how much are you out of pocket? Because if you're 65 plus, you may have more healthcare costs coming up. So look at that deductible and look at the max. They're probably thousands of dollars, depending on the plan you're on. The max out of pockets these days run anywhere from 4K up to 8K. So if you have bigger bills, we're comparing that out of pocket plus the monthly premium you're paying for the employer plan versus that roughly let's say $300 to $400 depending on your age with a supplement. Now, Advantage plans may be cheaper than the G plan, so maybe you knock off $150 off of that. But worst case, looking at a PPO, very rich option, you can go to any doctor anywhere that accepts Medicare across the country. You refer yourself out. That's kind of the flagship. That's around $400 plus, depending on your age, versus your premium and your out-of-pocket on your group plan. This gets complicated. You're probably already, your eyes are rolling back. Let us help you. Reach out to us and we can run the numbers versus what you have now. Send us your current situation. We can run the numbers for you and we can say, hey, your group plan is fantastic, or this Medicare option is probably going to be the better fit. The confusion is some people out there are saying, oh, if you're on a small group, meaning under 20 lives, 20 people on payroll versus a large group, you're going to be on the hook for all the doctor stuff. That's Part B. That's not how it practically works. We have lots of employer group plans, lots of people over age 65 who've been on those group plans for years and have never had an issue. And we just got off the phone with one of the dominant carriers to verify yet again that if you do not have your Part B with Medicare, they're going to pick up the office visits as if you were under age 65. So there's a little confusion out there that's incorrect information. Just know that if you have an employer plan and you only have your Part A, which most people have when they get Social Security, it's automatic, then you're still going to be okay for your doctor visit side, despite what some people are saying out there in the internet side of things and videos. So we compare a group plan, we compare Medicare, what we talked about. We can run these numbers for you. There's no cost for assistance. If it's much better for you financially, you're going to have a broader network and you're going to have much richer benefits, almost nothing out of pocket with that G plan, except for your Part B deductible, which is right around $260. It goes up a little each year. Then that might make sense to look at. And it's very easy to make that transition off of a group plan anytime during the year. You don't have to wait till open enrollment. You can do it right now. because loss of group coverage, meaning canceling a group plan, is a qualifying event that allows you to get your Part B with Medicare. It allows you to get a Medicare Supplement and a Part D. Reach out to us on coordinating that whole process and the timing of it, and we'll make sure that's seamless, easy, and that transition can be done if it makes sense. Those are the people, and also people who might be on an ACA or Cover California plan, who should definitely look at Medicare if it is financially better for them. Let's look at people who maybe it makes sense for them to stay on their group plan. Hey there, before we get back into the video, if this information is helpful, like and subscribe. We bring out new information weekly that you can take advantage of. Let's get back to the video. All right, the second piece of this is looking at people who maybe should keep their employer plan and not go on Medicare. Usually this comes down to the fact that they're on a great employer plan where the employer is contributing all or a lot of the premium. So if you have a very rich plan, you like how it works, you're paying very little or nothing out of pocket for that plan, maybe you stay on that. We can still do the calculation against Medicare, but if there's very little out of pocket and it's rich in terms of coverage, it might not be such a great deal. The caveat there is, remember we talked about with Medicare and a G plan, you have very little out of pocket, roughly around $250, $270 for the Part B premium, depending on the year it goes up. That's all you're looking at. So if you know you're going to have big bills, thousands of dollars every year, your employer plan max out of pocket becomes really important. It's probably going to be a few $1,000s. In that case, maybe you go with the Medicare option. Otherwise, if you really like your group plan, you're paying very little for it, that might be the way to go. The other two pieces are if you have an HSA. Because if you have a health savings account, not HRAs or any of the other type of setups, but an HSA, health savings account, then, and you have your Part A through Medicare, and remember, if you opted for Social Security, it automatically signs you up for Part A. You can't have or fund that HSA account anymore once you have your Part A. So if what the employer is offering you is a HSA plan, then maybe it doesn't make sense to take Medicare, but remember that Social Security may automatically sign you up. Finally, we have to look at dependents, meaning usually when someone is coming up on Medicare age, they have a spouse who's younger. In that case, if you go off of your group plan, automatically any dependents will also have to come off of the employer plan. They can't remain on if the employee drops coverage. So that's something we have to kind of strategize and talk about. Yes, we can get Cover California plans for the dependents and see if that's a good option, but the networks are different. There may be subsidies, there may not be. There are things to look at there. And so that's something we have to address. In that case, maybe you stay on the employer plan till everyone is past that 65 point, let's say a spouse, but there's a lot of strategizing we have to look at. For those people, maybe they stay on the employer plan. If it's super rich, they really like it, and the employer is paying quite a bit towards it, or there's a question about dependents or that HSA piece we talked about. Now let's talk about a bonus and wrap this up. Unless you're single, when we're making a decision of going from an employer plan to Medicare, we're not just making it for ourselves. If you have a spouse, if you have children, we have to figure out that cost piece. A lot of times people will be like, oh, Medicare is going to save me a lot of money, I'm going to jump off of it, not realizing that their dependents coverage gets canceled. Now, they may have COBRA coming off of that employer plan, but COBRA is super expensive, tends to be. Every now and then it isn't, but for the most part, COBRA is expensive. We can look at Cover California, and depending on what your income is going to be, because remember, you're retiring now, you're coming off of the employer plan, your income may drop significantly within this calendar year, means we may get big subsidies from Cover California for you and or the entire household. So we need to run those numbers, reach out to us, we can do that for Cover California to see how that looks. Usually we can get comparable coverage, but the networks may be different. If you have a PPO with Blue Shield, that PPO with Blue Shield through Cover California is going to be smaller. So we have to look at networks, we have to look at pricing, and we have to take into account everyone's healthcare costs and situation. Because when you come off a group plan and go to Medicare, that group plan for all your dependents is also gone. So there's a lot of moving pieces there. Reach out to us. We'll see what kind of sizes up the best and let you know of any pitfalls to avoid when making that jump. All right, that's the wrap.